And you're live.
This is House Education on May 22nd, 2025. We are discussing H209 as it was returned to us from the Senate, as well as a further instance of an amendment that we will be considering. I think we'll just start off with having Legislative Counsel walk us through the bill, which we all have up on our screens.
Yeah.
And so we can see what the changes are and why they were made.
I think it was.
Katie, you're on.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Katie McLean, Office of Legislative Counsel. Let me share my screen and pull up the document for you.
Thanks for being here on such short notice, by the way. Really
Oh,
appreciate
no
it.
problem. So this is not the official committee report from the Senate, but we're using this version because the changes were highlighted for the Senate Education Committee, and I thought that would also make it easier for this committee to see the changes that were made. So to refresh your memory, this was the bill on epinephrine. Right now, there's existing language that allows EpiPens, auto-injectors, to be maintained in a stock supply at schools, and the FDA has approved an intranasal version of epinephrine. And so the goal of the bill, or the underlying purpose, is to allow for the intranasal version also to be maintained at schools. When this committee was working on the bill, you heard from the Association of School Nurses, and most of your changes to the bill was in response to concerns that were raised over who could appropriately delegate authority to maintain a stock supply of epinephrine. However, after the bill left your committee and left the House, the Health Department, the Agency of Education, and the Office of Professional Regulation all raised concerns about the scope of authority that had been put in for school nurses in the House version. So the genesis of this is that the four groups got together, the Health Department, AOE, OPR, and the School Nurse Association, and this language is compromise language that the four groups worked on. So I'll walk you through these changes. A designated personnel means a school employee, agent, or volunteer who has completed training required by state board policy and who has been authorized by the school administrator or delegated by the school nurse to administer epinephrine in accordance with the provider's standing order or protocol pursuant to this section. So the training isn't new. You'll just see the sentence has been reordered. The training right now is on line 16 and it's been bumped up to line 12. So that is a change in designated personnel. I should say, as we get to the second definition, epinephrine auto-injector, the most frequent change you'll see in this bill is instead of referring to the two types of mechanisms for epinephrine auto-injectors and intranasal, this version does a little bit of cleanup where we're just referring to epinephrine generally, and not to the types of mechanisms specifically. And this change in this definition reflects that. The idea being, if ever the FDA were to approve additional forms of administering epinephrine, you wouldn't have to come back and amend this again. They would already be part of this or authorized under this statute. So instead of epinephrine auto-injector, we just have the epinephrine means a US FDA approved single dose epinephrine delivery system containing a pre-measured single dose of epinephrine. So that would encompass the current two types of mechanisms that are approved by the FDA. No changes to healthcare professional. No changes to school. Definition of school nurse. There had been language that a school nurse is somebody endorsed by AOE pursuant to the existing rules. And the addition here is or associate school nurse, because those are also, the associate school nurses are also referenced as part of the rule. In subsection B1 or subdivision B1, you'll see the change that you're going to start seeing over and over again, which is instead of saying an epinephrine auto-injector, you're just, the language is just epinephrine. The healthcare professional may prescribe epinephrine and the school's name, which may be maintained by the school for use as described in subsection D of this section. The healthcare professional shall issue to the school a standing order for the use of epinephrine prescribed in this section, including protocols for recognizing instead of assessing whether an individual is experiencing potentially life-threatening allergic reaction, administering epinephrine to an individual experiencing a potentially life-threatening allergic reaction. At the top of page 3, caring for an individual after administering epinephrine, including contacting emergency services personnel and documenting the incident, and disposing of used and expired epinephrine. In subdivision 2, a pharmacist
Katie,
or health. Ooh, yep.
you don't need to go over it every time it's changed from.
Okay, great. So subdivision 2, we have the same change. Subdivision 3, we have the same cleanup with just using epinephrine. And subdivision D, this language says that the school administrator may authorize a school nurse or appropriately trained designated personnel, because the definition of designated personnel says that they have to have that training, to do this list of items that's already in statute. And again, you'll see in subdivisions 1 and 2, we have that cleanup of moving just to epinephrine. Same thing in subdivision 3. On line 3, we're adding the word school before nurse. Same thing in subdivision, or at the bottom of this subsection, the cleanup language. And subsection E, a designated personnel, a school nurse, and a healthcare professional prescribing epinephrine to a school shall be immune from civil or criminal liability. So school nurse is added in there. And then we have the corresponding changes that we've been looking at throughout. And I think that is it for changes.
Yeah, looks that way.
Okay, and we just have that same thing. So those are the changes that you'll anticipate to see when you have the clean version of H209 from the Senate. And there's a proposed amendment to this language. I don't know if I should pause here, see if there are questions on this.
Are there questions? There are no questions, so we can move right on to the proposed amendment.
Okay, great. Let me pull up the other document. Okay, so this is language that came in from the 4 groups. Well, it came in from the health department and AOE, but my understanding and OPR, but it was reviewed by the school nurses also, is what I have been told. And this came in right, a day before 3rd reading, and it never ended up being offered on the Senate floor. This amends the definition of school nurse to account for the fact that independent schools do not necessarily have to have a school nurse. And if they do, it might not be somebody who has met the requirements in the rule. So this added language is or registered nurses certified through OPR and contracted to perform the duties of a school nurse. So this is, I guess, sort of catch-all language that would be added to the definition of school nurse.
All right, thank you. Any questions, committee? Seeing none, so we're going to go ahead and offer this amendment. So I guess we'll need you to write it up as an amendment sponsored by every member of the House Education Committee.
Do you have custody? I mean, you will have custody of H209 when it comes back over, right?
It's on notice right now, so we do not have custody. All right, I'm going to let the clerk take over at this point and explain the process for us.
So I talked to our House clerk, and so if we are all in agreement on moving to concur with the Senate's proposal amendment with further proposal of amendment there too, I think that's the plan, and that would be our straw poll vote.
So we straw poll concurring.
No, we just one big straw poll. Straw poll, the whole thing, concurring with further proposal of amendment there too.
Yeah, it's not It's an individual amendment with all of our names on it.
Right, yes, it needs a lead person that Betsy Ann said is usually the reporter.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then-
okay. That surprised me. I am happy to change it and put up somebody's name at the top of it.
Representative Harple will be the lead sponsor.
Do we ensure that it will happen after 10:30?
We'll either that or we'll just, somebody else will do it.
Okay.
But yeah, it should be a problem. I just don't want to, I don't want to put it off another day, that's all.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I just.
Great.
I will definitely.
So, Katie, does that sound good?
Stuff on the calendar.
The question is, what do you do with your work once you're done with it? Right? Clerk, what happens?
Oh, yeah, so Betsy Ann said if we get this done and out of here for the calendar tomorrow, I think we're just normal procedure. If
Wait, but
Katie,
so Katie writes it up,
Yeah.
who does she send it to?
so I think, Katie, remind me, does the reporter of the bill has to take it to the clerk's office? I'm pretty sure,
Pretty sure.
yeah.
I believe so that it has to be the reporter. Is
Yeah.
the reporter the same person who is going to have their name appear on it? Whoever is offering the amendment has to bring
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah, okay,
So that's
yes.
okay.
That'd be Representative Harple.
Got it. Okay. I will make that change and then I will send it out and I'll CC Annie on the email so that you have it for your website.
But you're gonna put all of our names on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so, and so therefore Representative Harple will get a copy of it from you. She will walk it to the clerk's office.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see everybody.
Please take it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Katie.
email that
Good
goes-
email, can't you, Nigel?
I think email's okay.
Yeah, we're done with Katie, yes. We are still live. I don't know about whether you can email it or walk it. The clerk should know the answer to that question.
Think you can email
I think I
Email
emailed
it.
last session.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I always like to poke it in with Betsy Ann, just to make sure she got it.
Yeah, okay.
So how about a quick straw poll on both the changes made by the Senate and our further instance of amendment there too. All those in favor, raise your hand. Unity. All right. Okay, Amy, that closes us out for the day then.
So when I do the report,